Heading into last week, believe it or not, the Bears were indeed one of the hottest teams in the league. They were 4-2, winners of four straight. So you're starting to feel some positive vibes there. Maybe they're figuring it out, turning it around, and going to be taken a little more serious as we go through the rest of the season. But then last week came and happened, and they faced off against a one-win Ravens team, and a Ravens team, mind you, that's effectively starting their third string quarterback in Tyler Huntley. And the Bears find a way to lose that game. A couple of rushing touchdowns by Derrick Henry. The Bears offense turning touchdown opportunities into field goals, their inability to force any Ravens turnovers, all were contributing factors there, right? Whereas the Bears in their four-game winning streak had forced 15 turnovers, I think committed like two themselves. Huge positive differential in turnover margin. They got none of that on Sunday. So now they're sitting at 4-3. And same thing we were saying heading into last week. They're sitting at 4-2, just like they were last season under Matt Eberflus. They're doing the same thing this year, 4-3 games. But can't win them all, I guess, and that's why you play the game. But if there's any shot for this Bears team to even think about or consider being in the wild card mix in the NFC, flat out, they must win this game, and they must win next week against the Giants. That's non-negotiable. There's just no realistic path that you could point to at this point and say that the Bears could find a way to get into the playoffs if they don't win these next two games. Because that Ravens loss was bad, and we need to not excuse it, defend it, or justify it. They're going up against Tyler Huntley, and you let them beat you, and beat you quite comfortably in the second half. But you win your next two games, and all of a sudden you're 6-3, and you're like, okay, start taking them a little more seriously now. Like this is a team that could do something, just a little something, not too much of it. But big keys there. Caleb's got to be able to play better. He's got to be more accurate with the football. The defense has to find a way to play. Like I mentioned, 15 turnovers forced in the four-game winning streak. But how sustainable is that in the modern NFL? It's a fair question to ask. If that's the only way you're going to beat teams, like when you force turnovers, you can win, but when you don't, you won't. And that's a bit of what I think we saw against the Ravens on Sunday. Meanwhile, for the Cincinnati Bengals, with Joe Burrow lost early in the season, it felt like it was going to be a lost season for Cincinnati. And who knows, maybe Zach Taylor's last season coaching the Bengals. No reason to feel any differently after their three straight kind of wipeout losses to the Vikings, the Lions, and the Broncos. They were looking pretty rough here, right? But then they made the in-division trade for Joe Flacco, brought him in from the skid marks. And a couple of weeks ago, the Thursday night game, here comes vintage elite Joe Flacco in the Icy Hot Bowl. And he has a huge game. They beat the Steelers, and now all of a sudden you're talking about the Bengals in spite of everything. They're sitting at 3-4. Hey, they've got a chance. They've got a fighter's chance. But very similarly, like with the Bears and having a letdown last week, I would argue the Bengals' letdown was even worse. Because they turned around after beating the Steelers on Thursday night and having like 10 days to prepare. They lost to the winless Jets last Sunday when they were up 15 points heading into the fourth quarter. They lost 39-38. Are you fucking kidding me? That is straight up bungle shit. That is a game you just absolutely have to win. That is a game that if you want to make the playoffs, you need to be able to finish that off. And they didn't get it done. That's just a tough scene and a bad look for them. So now, similarly to the Bears, and especially now at 3-5, if the Bengals have any remaining hopes at all of like sniffing around a wild card spot in the AFC, they've got to win this game, full stop, period. And even then, the odds of them being a wild card team are really, really low. But if they have any delusions of it, they got to find a way to handle business here. The money on this game right now, as of the time of this recording, the Bears are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under for this one is 51. And both the over-under and the Bears being favored by 2.5 feel right. So no real gripes there. In terms of the injury report for the Bears, it's been a common theme for this team. Obviously still without Jalen Johnson. Kyler Gordon's out. And now you add Luther Burden's out with concussion. DeAndre Swift is out with a groin injury. Roshan Johnson is out with a back injury. Not that that matters a whole lot because he just get one carry a fucking game anyways. Dominique Robinson is out with an ankle injury, but it looks like Austin Booker's finally going to make his regular season debut this year. So that's one positive and a myriad of negative news items when it comes to the Bears and the injury report. Meanwhile, for the Bengals, looks like they got a couple of guys like Logan Wilson that are doubtful, but Joe Flacco's questionable with the shoulder, but I would presume that means he's going to play. I would think Trey Hendrickson's going to play. So certainly in a better spot from a health standpoint than the Bears are heading into this one Sunday afternoon. When you look at this matchup, what are the keys to victory? First for Chicago, we'll start with the defense. They got forced turnovers. In the 4 games they won this year, they forced a total of 15 turnovers. In the 3 games that they lost, I believe the total is 0. It might be 1, but I think it's 0. It's a pretty striking difference. Forced turnovers win, don't force turnovers lose. So you come into this one, Flacco could put some balls at risk. You've got to find a way to get at least 1 or 2 interceptions, get 2 or 3 turnovers from this Bengals offense. But offensively, the Bears got to do 2 things. They got to pray Kyle Monangai doesn't get hurt, especially with Swift out and Roschon out. You're going to need Monangai to step in here and take the reins on Sunday and be a big alpha dog in the backfield. And then you look at the passing game, I think you got to get the tight ends involved. Looks like Kmet will be back, so I'm sure we'll be back to barely utilizing Colston Loveland because after all, that's why you fucking take a guy 10th overall. But get the tight ends involved in the passing game early. The Bengals have had trouble defending tight ends this year. Freiermuth went over 100 yards on him a couple of weeks ago, and that's in the midst of a really down season for Freiermuth. Get Loveland involved. Get Kmet involved. Force the Bengals to be able to prove that they can defend against tight ends because so far this year they really haven't. Meanwhile, for Cincinnati, get Chase Brown involved in producing early, and that's both as a runner and as a receiver out of the backfield. A couple of weeks ago against the Steelers, he had over 100 yards rushing. That type of potential performance is there because this is not a great Bears run defense. They've been playing a little bit better lately, but there's still a unit that certainly can get had. So you got to find a way to make sure that he can, because it'll take some pressure off of Joe Flacco and open up things on the outside in the passing game. And speaking of outside in the passing game, you got to make T. Higgins a priority and get him involved. You kind of look at it and you say Jamar Chase is a superstar. He is elite. He is 1A or 1B compared to Justin Jefferson, depending on your perspective. But he's that type of alpha dog wide receiver. You feel like he's going to get his. But when you look at the Bears, and yes, Tyreek Stevenson will be playing, but all the other injuries that you have, you got Nashawn Wright and a bunch of other scrubs playing corner. Get T. Higgins involved. You paid him big money too. Obviously not Jamar level money, but T. Higgins get paid. You got to sit there and find a way to go after him, get him involved early, force the Bears to prove that they can defend any of your wide receivers. And then also for their offense, protect the ball. Don't make this a bungles fest. Protect the ball. Don't make it easier for the Bears. So you talk about what the Bengals need to do on defense and yada, 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 and other things that they got to do on offense. The most important thing is protect the ball. Don't give the Bears easy opportunities. It's that simple. I look at this one. I think it should be a good one on Sunday. I think the Bears are a better team. I think they're going to win. But I'm not going to take that for granted, especially after last week's performance against the Ravens being led by a third-string quarterback. But I do like the Bears in this one. I expect them to right the ship. So give me Chicago 27-23 on Sunday.